Well, good morning
Hey.
from where I am, and hello from wherever you are, and celebrating the environment and the light and the shadows and all of our different environments getting a chance to connect. I was reading again a study about addiction, and the point was so clear that the antidote to addiction is connection and deep, deep connection. And one of my intentions for creating loops and scoops is to allow us to connect and in our connection to have deeper ways of connecting that don't have to do with how long we spend connecting. So a lot of us think, I have to have a certain amount of clock time to really feel connected. And what I have found with Loop of Awareness and Love Scoops is that I drop into a deeper sense of connection, and that nourishes not only my whole body, but the space around me. And that it's something that I can carry as a blueprint or a template through the day. And that's part of my intention, is that not only do we have this connection, but our weaving of connection, I find, carries through for me. I can feel it throughout the week. I can come home to it. So one thing I want to invite you to do is the experience that you're having today, to really let that be a kind of a home base for you that you can return to. You can look at the videos to spark that felt sense of connection again. And everything that we're doing really has that same intention of connecting deeply with you and connecting deeply with others. Because my sense is, as I'm moving around in the world, that that's the nutrient that really everybody is longing for, even if they don't know that that's what they're longing for. And so, what was occurring to me today in meditation, I never know when the idea is going to come through about what should we do, because I have all of these thoughts like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, but I wait for something that emerges. And what emerged for me was letting our flow of attention start here, but then I want to have you allow your eyes to rest in different parts of your body. So, what I would like to have you do is to start the basic loop of awareness is shifting your attention. And just being able to do that has had so many benefits for me, especially as I'm moving around in the world, because I experience a lot of people out there in public as being pretty not awake, pretty unconscious. And I was remembering, I was going down the farmer's market, and there was a car that just basically didn't stop at the stoplight and then go in the other direction, where a bunch of bicycles who were just going through. And I thought, I am going to be awake and aware, so that not only can I stay safe, but I can make room for other people to stay safe. So the quality of presence for me is the big thing that expands as I'm practicing loop of awareness. And what I've noticed for me is that my peripheral vision has expanded. So I'm looking forward and I can see things that are happening over here. And it's allowed me actually to uh, catch things that are dropping. Just my hand goes out and catches it, and I don't have to think about it. And so I've noticed things that my thinking mind would not notice. So my beacon of awareness has expanded to allow me to respond more fully to the environment. So as you're practicing, just simply shifting your attention, you're doing something that I imagine that most of the population doesn't do, because our attention gets stuck, and it mostly gets stuck out and narrow. So as you're practicing your loop today, what I'd like to invite you to do is first to let your loop come inward. So give attention to yourself. And what I would like you to let yourself be feeling into, sensing into, is letting your attention go to a space inside you that feels open. So just letting your attention rest on any space in you that feels open. And just noticing what it's like to let your attention rest there. And how do you let your attention rest? So that's something to explore also. And then letting your attention go out. And what I'd like you to do is to again let yourself be looking for an open space. Could be a tiny little open space, it could be a vast open space, but letting your vision go into the open space and then letting your attention come back to you and landing in you, and see if there's another open space. And it might be a tiny open space, it might be a whole section of you that feels open, and letting yourself land in that. So we're shifting and landing, because mostly people shift and then they, either disappear or they bounce off. So letting yourself shift into the open space and land, and then shifting out again to the open space. And the open space may be out to the side of you. It may not be directly in front of you. So I notice that my breathing expands, and that my sense of myself expands out as I let my awareness expand. And so as you're shifting, let yourself just play with that easy shifting from open space to open space and landing, an open space and landing. And I like to, this time I got a little kind of a trampoline. I kind of go, bouncing out and then bouncing back. So I'm getting a little bit of expansion and that sense of ease. Yeah, beautiful. And then I'd like you to imagine that your eyes move down here to your throat. And I'd like you just to imagine that you're gazing out from your throat and letting your attention come more. Oh, that's so interesting. As I'm doing that, I can literally feel my throat expanding. So as you're coming back, let your attention come back to your throat, and just notice the open places in your throat, letting your attention land in there. And so for a few shifts, letting your attention actually come from, it might come up from your throat or out from your throat, but just noticing what it's like to let attention be moving from your throat. What I'm finding as I'm doing that too is that my upper chest is now starting to expand. And when I land back in me, I can feel it. I can feel the back of my throat and my shoulders expanding. So let yourself add into this, letting your body actually respond. So anything that your body wants to do when you've landed, either inside your throat or out. So what is your throat, your expressive part of you? What's that interested in? And I'm noticing that actually my vision is including more of, it's also like it really has moved down to my throat. So I'm feeling, when I'm looking out, I'm not looking as high, I'm looking more horizontally. So it's very interesting. This is just an experiment, just to see what happens when you let your attention come from your throat. When I do this, and especially when I come back and land to me, but also if I'm looking out, I can notice something that might want to be expressed. So if there's anything when you come back to your throat, if there's anything that wants to be expressed, it could be just a sound, could be a it could be an actual expression. You could let your body express that for you. So letting yourself include that in your loop of awareness. Yeah, beautiful. And then I'd like you to let your attention drop down as if your eyes were in your heart. And I'd like you to let yourself first land in your heart area. That can include your whole chest, in the back of your heart area, and letting yourself be noticing openness, landing in any open area that you're feeling, and then letting your body respond to that. And what I find is kind of unkinking. It's just sort of like opening up and unkinking, and that sense of, I can feel a smile wanting to occur, that sense of uplifting. And then when you're letting your attention shift outward, notice where you're wanting to direct your attention when it's coming from your heart area. And letting that happen a couple of times, where you shift out and then you shift back to your heart area. That's really wonderful. I'm feeling a kind of a low giggle, chuckle, like in my, like sort of under my ribs. I can feel a little chuckle and more bouncy. Again, I'm wondering too if our circulation of our attention just creates more bounce, more, more lightness, more ease. And I'm noticing that my throat still feels open. So having given that attention, my throat feels open, and now my heart feels open. And so you might want to see, where does my heart want to open to? Where am I wanting to give attention from my heart? Out here. And then back here. Because the main thing is shifting your attention. The shifting is what really increases the circulation. So shifting and landing, those really give you your fuel and your landing pad that can create that sense of expansion. And then I'd like you to let your attention drop into your belly. Just going to stand up for a minute so you get, oh, I have a heart on me. So letting your attention land in your belly, which is often a place where we don't feel much space. So notice, and you might even put your hands on your belly and notice what it's like to give attention through your touch, in the same place that you're letting your awareness drop into your belly. And just notice an open space there. And I notice that my body wants to do this kind of a movement when I'm opening up to my belly. So your body can also say, oh, I find this nourishing and I want to respond in this way. And then when you let your attention, letting your belly connect, because this is your main place of connection. This is where you were connected in utero. This is where we get connected to the deeper sense of nourishment. So see if you would be willing to open your belly to that deeper sense of connection. So even when you're out in the world and you might be passing somebody and you have that moment where you have that connection, let it land all the way down in your belly. I find as I'm doing this, like if I'm having a meal with someone and I'm doing loop of awareness and including my belly, I sometimes forget to eat, which is like stunning because that's something that was really foreign to me, because I can actually experience the nourishment of connection. And that's what I really want to invite you into this week, is to be available for the deep, deep nourishment of connection, and how that can fuel you through all of the main centers of your body. Now my feet are speaking to me and saying, what about me? I'm a very important part of your body. So letting your attention land in your feet. Oh, my feet are so happy. They're wiggling. They're going, oh, good. Finally, she's paying attention to me. So when you let your attention land in your feet, and then notice how your body wants to respond to that, and then letting your attention kind of travel out like Mercury from your feet and noticing your attention where that wants to land out in the world, letting that come back. So you could use this practice of just letting your attention come from different areas of your body as you're practicing your loop of awareness. And then your whole body can get refreshed from that practice. And here we are at 9:15. So I'm going to go to our Presence Connect play and see what we've got for us today. Presence says, appreciate. So for me, appreciating is giving sensitive awareness. That's the primary thing. And for me, loop of awareness allows me to appreciate more than any other of our tools, because I'm actually letting my awareness come out with curiosity. And that sensitive awareness is appreciation. And so it is not rah rah, it's really, I'm connecting with that really deep sense of how are you and how am I? And I'm here with you, I'm here with me. So that's how I think of appreciating. Connect is open posture. It's funny how through the day we tend to narrow. So we tend to narrow certainly in toward the center, but I think we also tend to narrow, we tend to get more on top of ourselves. So open posture is not just what might be obvious to you. Like notice if there's any way that you can open your torso that you haven't yet played with today. And how can you open your back? Because we generally think of open posture as opening the front of us, but what if the open posture were really opening the back of you to allow you to back yourself up even more than you normally do? And then play, love that. Play is go in the direction of the flow. And what we mean by that, almost always when we give attention to ourselves, it's to correct something. It's to notice something that's wrong and to go, okay, now I have to fix that. But what if your attention allowed you to go more in the direction of how things are moving? So if your body's feeling grinchy, you can go with that, with your attention, and open up more of the possibility of going with. And then when I go with what's happening, the next step occurs. So you might just try that out right now with noticing something going on in you that you would normally try to correct. And what if you got curious about how does that want to go? What's the flow? Is that something that's wanting to open up? Is that something in me that's wanting to move in a certain direction? Is that something that wants to express? So if you go in the direction of the flow, or like if you're feeling sad, if you let yourself actually go in the direction of the sadness, it's really a being with in motion. And that's what I think of as going with the flow. Not that I'm directing it, but I'm on the ride. And so going with the flow it's also so much easier. It's so much easier than, I have to monitor, and is this good or bad, or should I do more of it or less of it? But you're actually letting the flow of your body wisdom nourish you and give you your next step. And so that's really one of my favorites. I hadn't seen that for a while. I actually forgot that we had that on the Presence Connect play. So thank you so much, my friend, for being with me today. And I'm going to take my leave right now because I'm going off to have a crown put in. So this is a really good day for me to start with this. And I will definitely be going with the flow there. And I look forward to seeing you all next time and have happy talk, happy big talk. And so lots of love. Bye now.
Thank you, Katie.